Good afternoon, everybody. It's Karen Curitan here live on LinkedIn. And I am live, as you can see, with my guest today, who is Anna Whalley. Afternoon, Anna.
Hi, afternoon.
So I'm in the depths of deepest Leicestershire, and you are over in the northwest.
I'm in Manchester. It's well, it's not raining, but I won't
Well,
go.
that's a plus with Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah,
And that is the thing. My parents lived in Cheshire for about 5 years, and I always dressed for rain. When I went to visit them, it was always dressing for rain, always the nature of the beast. So, Anna, you've joined me today, and thank you for that, because I'm always interested to talk to people about their experiences. And we've recently worked together to do some LinkedIn training, and you're quite different to quite a lot of my usual clients because of your relatively recent background. So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your journey into where you are now and what you do now?
Yeah, so I'm Anna. What I'm doing at the moment is my business is Anna Whalley Consulting, very imaginatively named. And I'm an independent merchandising consultant. So I help businesses make the most profit out of their stock. So what that might look like is I help them with process review. So making sure their processes are set up to allow them to make data-driven decisions. I do organizational design for a merchandising function. So if they're a growing retailer and they want to understand how merchandising function should look for them to grow their business, I help them with that. I do coaching and mentoring with teams, which I love. I really, really enjoy that. And then the other aspect, I do project delivery work. So if they're a business, they're obviously running their business as usual, but doing projects that might be getting a new solution, like a demand planning tool, which sounds very exciting, or a warehouse relocation, I help deliver there. So that's the types of things that I do in the business on a practical level. But so I've been doing that for over 3 years, and I set it up to be so I could be a little bit more flexible. I've got 2 boys and I just wanted to be around them a little bit more. But prior to that, for 20 years or so, I worked for quite large retailers. So ones you might have heard of, like Jaeger, Matalan, Pretty Little Thing, and I led merchandising teams there. And I actually, I started out my first job in retail. My first job in retail was a Saturday job, but in the head office was working for Big W, which was part of the Woolworths Group.
Oh wow, yeah,
many years ago. So that's where I started, really. So that's a little bit about me.
And what made you leave? So you left the corporate world to spend more time with your sons?
Yeah, so just to be around them. So during COVID, I was like, what am I doing? They're getting older, they're getting bigger. I love my job. I love merchandising. I'm really passionate about it. And I just thought, people said, oh, why don't you set yourself up? And I was like, oh, that's not really what happens in retail, but it does. And it's becoming much more common. So I did it. I was really lucky getting my first client, who were absolutely lovely. Still in touch with them. And yeah, it sort of just grew from there. I do actually started a new venture as well with somebody else. So yeah, you know, it's business. You just keep growing and evolving. So
but it is tough though, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about just before we went live that it's 18 years, got to work it backwards, since I left the corporate world. And I remember, and I don't know if this happened to you actually, I remember because I had quite a grown-up job. I was sales director for a national house builder. I was on call 7 days a week. This is how long ago it was. We had a fax machine in our house. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And I went from my phone ringing like constantly to nothing. And it was quite a shift to find that I'd been top of people's call list. I was on demand, all of that. And then all of a sudden it was like a tap that just switched off. And I would say it took me at least 2, if not 3 years to get used to that. Did you find something similar then?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest adjustments I found outside of that, which I'll come to, is just I didn't know how much I loved IT help desks. And I mean, I don't think I actually would have survived if I didn't have Google or been able to research how to do simple, my email isn't working or, something like that. So that was a huge shock, like in its, and something I hadn't actually naively considered. The talking about myself and going out and meeting people, like, you said, it goes quite, you have to get out there. I mean, I'm doing this. I'm still a little bit uncomfortable about it, but you have to go out, you have to do it. I found it hard. I'm still learning. I started with, I'm sure you're the same, where, you go into a room and everyone stands up and, and it's not quite like that anymore, but I've been to some that are like that, and that's horrific. That's not me. So yeah, I found that quite tough. I would say for networking though, to getting out there, just go, just practice.
Well, what's the worst, and what's the worst can happen? I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that when I first started networking, I would go to the opening of an envelope. Just put myself out there, just do it. And at some point it'll feel right. And my other half's actually astonished, because this is the woman. I'm an introvert extrovert. So when I'm with people, like I've got to know you a little bit, when I'm with people I know and I trust, I'm out there.
Yeah.
When I flew to Australia and didn't speak to anybody other than the cabin crew, because I had to, because they were feeding me and providing me with alcohol. So for me, networking isn't a natural thing. And when you are working for yourself, you have to build that tribe. And I think it's one of those things. I think it's one of the things, probably when you were talking about leaving the corporate world, did you realize that you were going to have to start and do stuff like this?
No. I mean, I don't know if I was just massively naive. I don't know. But no, I didn't. It was a shock. So there's two, like there's networking, getting your business out there, and the networking as well, which maybe it's the same thing, but finding, like you said, your tribe, who can you call, who's in your corner sometimes. And I have to say, I've been very lucky with who I found to do that with. I actually set up a business venture with somebody. I've met Sarah from Flourish Retail. We have a new business venture that way. And that came about through meeting people, like putting myself out there and going to do it. But it didn't occur to me. It's not a natural thing. One of the best things that I've done is like a speed networking. So you go in and it's a big Zoom thing, and you go into a room for 4 minutes with somebody or maybe 2 other people. And I mean, it was awful, but it was the best thing that I've done. You practice, you see other people's styles as well. Actually, how do you connect with someone? I mean, that's not something I'd really thought about before. How do I like to be connected with? So that was great. And then setting up, I don't know about you, but like setting up the first call might be okay. That's fine. They'll accept the call. You'll have a chat, and then it's about the follow up and how you do that. Some people, I've had potential clients, I've gone in and I've had a chat. I've gone into their offices and had a chat with them. Don't hear anything.
The ghost you, isn't that frustrating? All you want them to do is just to say yay or nay.
Yeah, it's not right for me now, or thanks.
And that's the thing is, what I think, when you come away from the corporate world and you are a supplier to these corporates, for want of a better way of putting it, and I'm not going to jinx myself from working with any large organizations, but I am going to say it because I'm a straight talking Geordie lass, is that I actually think that they don't consider the impact of their actions. So I had a company ask me to quote for a really big piece of work back in March. And I followed up and followed up and followed up. And then I sent them what I call my TLE, my 3-line email, which basically says, what the fudge are you doing? Because your quote's expired, very politely.
Yeah.
Your quote's expired. Is this project still something that's going to be something you're going to want to progress with? Just let me know, yes or no, by reply, and then I can move forward from this. So they came back to me after I sent the TLE and said, oh, unfortunately, since we spoke, Karen, I've had to let 2 of the staff go that you were going to be training. And I said, okay. I said, well, shall we have a different conversation now then about how I could support you? Nothing. But what's really frustrating, because we know this about LinkedIn, is at least twice a week that somebody from that organization is looking at my LinkedIn profile. So the problem hasn't gone away.
No.
But do you think when you work as a consultant, I mean, there are so many benefits, and we talked about this recently, there's so many benefits to working with a consultant in that, we're flexible, we can be agile, you don't have to pay for our holidays or our IT support or even feed us. There's so many benefits that you can have. And a lot of organizations now bring a consultant. But in the 3 years that you've been away from the corporate world, how have you managed to stay mentally resilient, Anna?
Thick-skinned. I've gotten thicker skinned, and that network that you build up is really good. Working collaboratively with someone is absolutely fantastic. If that comes along, as I said, I've set something up. We set the merchandising school up. So Sarah and I run that, and that's been really, really great to work on something together, to build a new business and to understand how we interact with each other and that support. But for my own business, where I'm working on my own, you have to care less about what other people think and just keep going, and the best clients, the ones that I really enjoy, that I end up staying with for the longest, and we both get a lot out of it, is we enjoy working together. And I think that's it, isn't it? My business is called Anna Whalley Consulting. I am me. So they get me. If we get on brilliantly, that's what you get. And if we don't, or if it isn't right for them, I have to just say, wasn't right, and move on. And that's been a learning.
You're right. I think you do have to. I came from a 20+ career in sales, so I had to have broad shoulders anyway. But they've now gone like superhero broad, because you can't take it personally. I recently had just in the last 2 weeks, I had an opportunity to do some work for a large organization, actually back in my old sector in construction. And I followed up. And actually the guy, thank goodness, came back to me and said, what you quoted for, I had to incorporate some design work because it wasn't stuff I'd trained before. So we've gone with somebody who can pull it off the shelf, so it's more cost effective for us. But we'd still like to have a conversation with you about doing some LinkedIn training for our members. And that's great. At least you know where you're up to.
Yeah.
Having that resilience is so tough. And I remember when we first spoke and we talked about collaboration.
Yeah.
And because it reduces the risk,
it
reduces some of the stress. So
and it's enjoyable.
Yes, and you enjoy it because you've got somebody to bounce off, haven't you? So tell everybody that's watching, and anybody on catch up, feel free to put any questions for Anna in the comments. Tell me a little bit more about the merchandising school. Who's this for?
So it's myself and Sarah. So Sarah has her own business, Flourish Retail, and she's also been in merchandising for over 20 years and does outsourcing merchandising. So we've come together, and the merchandising school, we provide masterclasses for retailers. They might be a one-person band, they might be a small retailer that's growing, that isn't quite ready to get somebody in one-on-one to get a consultant in, but know that they want to learn how to plan sales, how to manage stock, how to improve their cash flow, how to work out margins, and all really great. I'm not going to say basic merchandising stuff. It's merchandising, and it follows you from, it can start here, and it's the same merchandising principles that are in large retailers. So it's giving them access through masterclasses. And we started our first masterclass yesterday, and it was really enjoyable. And yeah, we've got lots of ideas of how to progress that. So yes, the merchandising school, I am shamelessly going to plug it.
Plug it.
And you can find us on Instagram, the merchandising school, or feel free to just reach out to me and I'll put you in touch. But it's masterclasses for merchandising, and work is good.
But I think that's, and I'm just going to show this comment from George. Thank you, George. Just listen to this, is also very, very familiar. Absolutely, George. And it is true, because that's the thing, is that to be able to access somebody with your level of experience of working at a high level in retail. And I know George, she worked within John Lewis, to be able to access people with that level of expertise is out of most people's budgets. And that's why I think the merchandising school is such a fabulous idea.
Thank you.
To give people that opportunity, because it is, there is, I think that's one of the challenges, is that, we need to be honest about it. That's why I developed my programs, because not everybody has budget to work one-to-one with me for personalized social media training.
Yeah.
So I developed my programs, and I'll plug mine: social media for trainers and coaches, and social media for grown-ups. Clues in the name in that one. Because then it puts it into more people's budgets, because we do. And I think when you leave the corporate world, Anna, you want to earn a living. You want to be working, absolutely, because it's doing what we absolutely love, but earning a living.
Yeah.
And I remember and I will call her a former business coach, said to me, "Oh, Karen, but you need to be selling to many, and all of this. You need to have all these programs. You need to be doing this." I said, that doesn't fit with my values. And it's like, what you're doing, you want to limit, so within the merchandising school, you're limiting the number of people that can be part of that, aren't you?
Absolutely. So they can interact and they're getting real value from it. And, and for my own business, a lot of the work that I get is word of mouth, or repeat business. So it's me, and that's what they get. And with the merchandising school, it's Sarah and I. So
that's lovely, Durga. Thank you.
It is. So these are some people you have to go out, you have to meet people, and when you meet them, I always come away feeling like I've learned something. I'm a little bit there are some people that I've come away where I feel like I've learned, and I don't know if I've given anything back, or if we're going to do work together in the future. I'm so grateful for their time, and some people are amazing. They'll give you their time and will actually help you. So I try and do that back, because if I can't give it back to them, I think, well, maybe there's somebody else that I can do that with.
I totally agree. And that's, I've always built my business based on, and my old former coach would say, it's never going to make you rich, Karen, but I work on reciprocity, because actually I think at the end of the day, like, my business is really imaginatively called Curating Consulting, because it's me. There's nobody else here. And I want to be able to look myself in the mirror when I go to bed at night, when I take off my social media
work
mask, face mask off, my work face off, and I become mum and wife.
Yeah.
I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and go, just like you said, Anna. And I've helped somebody today. I've made something. I did a talk this morning. I've developed this talk called "Why Your Social Media is Not Like a Bake-Off Showstopper." And it's really funny, because I planned it in to do it for this networking group that I'm in, because Bake-Off starts again next week. And I do love a bit of Bake-Off. But actually what was really lovely was the women in that Zoom room know me. It's a membership.
Yeah.
But actually what was great was that they actually said, "Oh, this is great, because you've put it in a different way that will resonate with us." And I think what we need to remember, I think what's really important is that people don't need, when we have a service, and Alex, thank you for your words. People don't need what we offer, what you and I offer, or what Alex or Durga or George offer every day, week or month. And that's why showing up networking, going to conferences, going to exhibitions, doing taster sessions, showing up on LinkedIn regularly. Sometimes I show up on my LinkedIn lives. I do one every single Monday, have done for 6 years. In fact, the lady who's mentoring me at the minute, she was laughing last night because I was telling her, I've been going live every Monday for 6 years. Sometimes it's just me talking to myself. I may as well call them Karen's random ramblings.
Starts you up for the week.
But the thing is, this is the thing, Anna, with social media, as we've spoken about many times now, you never know who's lurking. You really never know who might just be watching this right now and says, do you know what it is? I've got a friend, they're struggling with their small independent retail business. They can't afford this sort of expertise on a regular basis. But actually, the merchandising school sounds like a great fit for them.
Yeah.
And that is the joy. It's a bit like we've talked before about the importance of having multiple streams of marketing your business. But I'm not going to call it marketing, because a lot of people who've come out of the corporate world are frightened of the word marketing. It's like a dirty word, isn't it? Let's think about the fact instead, let's call it ways to raise awareness of your expertise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we need to have multiple touch points with people. I had a lady recently signed up for an event I was hosting. She'd been on my mailing list for 5 years. I checked. 5 years, she's never engaged with a single email. But all of a sudden, she was ready. And it's like, you show up, you have your content, you go to your events, you have one-to-ones, people are getting to know, like, and trust you.
I hope so. Yeah. But you, like you say, you've got to keep doing it. You've got to, you might work with people, that's fantastic. And, you might get repeat business. I do. It's fantastic. But outside of that, you need to start building and different avenues and keep doing it. And you get better at it each time. You'll learn which networking groups or events really suit you, that you're going to get something from. It's a great opportunity when you go to events as well, especially national ones where you can meet people. So, I met Alex and George in person. I met Sarah in person. We're now working together. And to just get out there and keep going, and don't be frightened to talk about yourself, which is very difficult.
I think it is difficult. And I think, I actually have a training that I'm about to re-record about being a good networker, because it's definitely a skill we're not born with.
No,
it's definitely a learned skill. If I had my way, I'd probably go and stand with my face to the wall and not speak to anybody. I went to a networking group last Thursday that is a big international franchise, and I've resisted it because I'd visited 3 other groups and had really bad experiences. And this group, a client said to me, I'd really like to invite you to come to my group in Loughborough. And I went along with her, and I said, I don't. She said, Karen, it's not like the usual ones. Right. And I went along, and I came home that night, and my husband said, what did you think of it? And I'll tell you when we're finished the live what I thought of it, because I'm not going to say it live, depending on who's watching. I said, do you know what it is? I said, I've been networking regularly, Anna, for 10 years now. For 10 years, I've resisted that particular franchise. And I said to my husband, I said, I think my preconceptions, my previous experiences, and I would urge everybody to think about this, is that we take things from experience. My previous experiences of this group had been so bad that I said, I'm not going to visit. And then this client who I really like and I really trust said, come with me. It's not like your normal one. And I said to my husband that night, I said, I think I've missed an opportunity. But I would never have joined those groups because they didn't feel, it's got to feel right in here, hasn't it?
But you went. That one thing that's lovely there is that you went with somebody. That's great, but it's not always possible. So what's your top tip for networking? So you're going to an event.
I go with zero expectation, but I actually have, and I'm sure you've seen it in my office. I'm not in my office today. My office isn't this posh. I have some lovely freestanding flip charts I use to sort of map stuff out and have it stuck on my office wall. And in July, I mapped out month by month what I wanted to accomplish for my business each month, right through till January.
Yeah.
I have a coloured post-it note for the business activity I want to focus on. Then I had a coloured post-it note for what activity I need to do to get to that business. So whether that be a particular kind of networking.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to a group, what I'd encourage anybody watching is if you get invited to a group, find out what type of businesses go.
Yeah, definitely.
How many members are there?
Yeah.
But also, I always take the time to write my elevator pitch before I go. So I write my elevator pitch, my 60 seconds, my monthly minute. If you get that opportunity, it's worth going to a group if you get that. I always write it with the room in mind.
Yeah, because it's a little bit different, slightly different slant. Yeah.
So today, for example, my minute today was, do you spend hours on social media? Do you wonder why everybody else is seeming to get results? Do you feel totally overwhelmed by it? Well, guess what? That's the sort of people that I like to work with. Let's have a chat. And I keep it really friendly, really simple. But I think networking is definitely a skill. And I've joined some groups that haven't been right.
Yeah.
But then I've got some communities. I've learned that I like to network a lot with women because I would say nothing against, I love the guys. Yeah. But probably 80% of my clients, maybe slightly more, are women.
Right.
So guess what? I will hang out with other women.
Yeah.
And I think generally, most people you meet networking are genuine, lovely people, especially when you are a small business owner. We get the challenges that we all face, the need to be, absolutely relatable to those people. We can understand the challenges. I love that, Durga. It's true. Do you know one thing I did do? Because I'm a member of this group, and this is a bit of a cheeky one, because I'm a member of this group, so we meet every month. People get used to you saying the same thing, so I try and mix it up. So what I did was I put into ChatGPT.
Love ChatGPT.
I put in there, because this group's all ladies, and I put, write me 50 seconds on why women in business need to learn to love LinkedIn as a rhyme. So I started my 60 seconds with, I'm Karen, I'm a social media trainer and coach. Then I went into the rhyme, and then I ended it with, if this sounds like you, let's have a one-to-one. But do you know what it was? Because it was on Zoom. Yeah. I was just going to say something along the lines of what she usually says. They're like, oh.
You're very brave, I wouldn't.
But you need to. I think the thing is, it's. This is another tip I would give you, Anna. When you're networking, dress in something that gives you confidence.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Pre-COVID, I've got a beautiful. It's like a tailored long jacket that a very talented lady made for me. Pre-COVID, I called that my networking coat because it's scarlet.
Yeah, and you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel comfortable. Yeah,
I felt like boss lady, And it's, if you're networking on Zoom, I always say wear a bright coloured top.
Yeah,
because if there's a lot of people in that Zoom room, you want to stand out.
Yeah.
So I can't believe we've been chatting nearly half an hour already. I feel like we could chat all day. I told you it was going to be like loose women, but better.
It's so easy to talk to, Karen. I love it.
It's just such fun. So I'm just going to wrap up now. So people want to work with you. You've got the merchandising school. Tell people a little bit more about how else they could work with you.
They can work with me directly. So either just message me. You can have a free we have a discovery call for half an hour. If you just want to message me on LinkedIn or my website, Anna Whalley Consulting. You can get in touch with me that way. So
fabulous.
So that's that.
Fabulous.
Just before you finish, Karen, thank you for doing this with me. I've really enjoyed it today. So I'll let you wrap up.
I'm really pleased. And you know what it is? I urge all of my clients to go live on LinkedIn, because you never know who's watching. You really seriously. One of my clients recently, I'll just share this little story because it's a fabulous. I love it. It makes me so happy. Vicky and I have been working together on and off for about 5-6 years in different ways. She's done different programs and things that I've done. She had a company approached her to do some DISC assessments for their team. And she said, oh, that was quite nice. She said to the woman, how did you find me? And she said, oh, I've been reading your posts on LinkedIn. And she said that I thought you seemed like my sort of person.
Yeah.
But she says what turned into, the woman had been stalking her, cyber stalking, lurking, whatever you want to call it, on LinkedIn for 2 years, reading Vicky's posts. She's now fast forward. So this was about 6 months ago. She's now fast forward, brought Vicky in to do some training with her team, and she's turned into her biggest client. And that came purely from consistently showing up on social media. And that's the astonishing thing. And George, I absolutely love that comment. I'm just going to pop that up. When you go to different events, have different pictures. Absolutely. We need to be flexible. You know, that's why I created a rhyme. I've got to confess, I wouldn't stand up. I wouldn't have the confidence to stand up at an in-person event and read a rhyme. I don't know whether I could do that. But, you know, when you're getting ready for networking, dress in something that makes you feel good.
Yeah. You know? And get feedback as well, I think.
Absolutely. So, Anna, thank you so much for joining me. I am going to urge everybody who's watching this on Catch Up to connect with Anna, have a one-to-one. She is so knowledgeable at what she does. I'm Karen Cureton, social media trainer. I will be back here by myself live on Monday. I'm live every Monday at about 8:15, and I share lots of free tips. So great to have you with me, Anna. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks.